this is the topic of the body and its three brains. I know people are probably going to be like, what the heck? What do you mean three brains? I only have one brain. But what I mean by the body's three brains is, I mean, they're like certain centers of the body, and they have a certain control over a certain aspect of your body's whole. So when you say the three brains, you'd say first is your brain, which is the mind. This is where you have either memory or creativity. You create something. That's how the mind works. It either you think from memory, you recall something, or you create it in your mind and you see something that you never saw, but yet you still see it with your mind, if that makes any sense. So that's how the mind works. The mind works with recalling things, recognizing things, communicating things, conveying things, or seeing things that it recognizes, and it can process that information. Like, and it happens. There's a lot of stuff going on at all times, a lot of interplay between these three brains also. So the second brain actually would be what you would call is your heart. Okay, your heart. That's why sometimes you get a heartache, is because when something has a high emotional stimulation to your brain recognizes something that causes a high emotional response. You feel it in your heart. That's because the heart is the center for emotions, and your mind and your heart are always at this interplay, where your brains, it's trying to, either one or the other is trying to overcome the other. It's like either your emotions are trying to that means you think with your feelings, you know what I'm saying, or if you think with your mind, you'll think with your thoughts, with your memory, with your recognition, you know what I'm saying. But if you get too emotionally attached, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, it'll throw off your better judgment. That's, you know what I'm saying. That's why I say that these two centers here, your heart is always going to be attached, associated to people you're attached to, family, children, where you grew up, somewhere where you got roots, history, things that have happened in your life that were traumatizing, that will have an effect on your heart memory, you know what I'm saying, and that'll have an effect on your mind. And then the third brain is the chemical brain, and this it's like I never heard of that before, but now, it makes a lot of sense, because they say you have a gut feeling, you know what I'm saying. How can your gut feel, you know what I'm saying, if it has no mind, or no consciousness, or no memory tissue, nothing that it can contain. But what it does contain is this processing where your body is taking the foods which you ate, and it's taking acids, and it's dumping metal in it. And anytime you dump an acid and a metal in the same cauldron, it's going to create an electromagnetic charge. So that's why it's your chemical electromagnetic part of your, it's the generator of your electromagnetic part of your body, which your brain operates totally off of electrochemical, electromagnetic signals, and just this interconnected electrochemical thing. So I mean, think about it. That's like kind of like, look, when I read for a while, or if I'm studying something, I'll get hungry. It's because for some reason, when I use my mind, my stomach craves replenishment. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I'll go work out, and then I won't be hungry at all. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. So sometimes I feel like thinking is a harder task than it is just doing things. You know what I'm saying? To dedicate just to mental pursuit. You know what I'm saying? Using your eyes to read and your mind to interpret. That is a very... It's not the act of reading and but it's the tuning of everything else out, the attention, that the focus that you have to draw upon to absorb new things. It's taxing, and this is where it's replenished, is in the guts. So, and then they say, people say, they talk about aura, right, which is pretty new ager, but to some extent I believe there's probably a lot of truth to that, because it's like our body is it's a big electromagnet. You know what I'm saying? Biomagnetic. It's got a biomagnetic field. That's, supposedly everything that has life has a biomagnetic field. And it's like they say, what is the soul? Is the soul this biomagnetic force, and this body's just in it? Like when you die, that's they say that immediately your body loses a bunch of weight. Is this that weight that escapes? Like, does this energy have actually mass to it, like weight? You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you would never understand these types of things. You know what I'm saying? If you weren't aware of them. You know what I'm saying? So you think, since these things all interplay, you can think like, all right, for instance, this is how the cycles they'd work together, like the stomach. No food leads to, you're so starving now. Your heart, normally where your heart would say, man, no, I'd never steal. You know what I'm saying? But your brain will tell, because of that force there, to go out and you go steal to live. You know what I'm saying? That's how these work together. You know what I'm saying? That need will overpower your, even in your heart, what you know to be right sometimes in certain instances. Or if someone hurts your feelings, you'll attack them when normally you wouldn't do that. But if they had to just go and poke around in where your heart's at. So sometimes that heart can overpower the mind and have you act out in a negative way. It's good to be aware of these things. Or like I notice, when people are hungry, they're a lot more short and more quick to snap. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's, judgment and emotion and feeling. You know what I'm saying? All these things are factors there. If not all of them are kind of in check, that's the check. The body has its own checks and balances, basically, right there in a way too. Because it's like, I got a gut feeling. It's like, so you're using some kind of other force, some other sense, the feeling, like even like women and their mother's intuition. That's real shit. That's potentially something that might be stronger than the woman, because they bear children, so their stomach's built different or something. You know what I'm saying? That's something you look into and see. You know what I'm saying? Because this is very philosophical. You know what I'm saying? Some people might disagree. They might say, nah, your heart's your heart, your brain's your brain, and your stomach's your stomach. You know what I'm saying? But that's sometimes when you incremental. That's incremental understandings here, and I'm thinking integrated understanding. You know what I'm saying? Even if that's it's very metaphorical, and it's kind of more of an analogy, but yet it still applies, and it works. You know what I'm saying? The three brains of the body, or you could say three centers, but they all have a certain level of a mind of their own. You know what I'm saying? Or in a way. But anyway, yeah, that's what's up. The three brains.